Welcome back, everyone. Congressman Barney Frank is calling it quits after 16 terms in office. 16. The ranking member of the House Financial Services Committee recently admitted to overlooking some of the insider trading going on in Congress, but says he had little to do with the financial crisis caused in part by Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac.
The notion that the Democrats were pushing these loans is absolutely backwards. George Bush in 2004 ordered Fannie and Freddie to do more lending to lower-income people, and I objected. I want to do rental housing. I want to push Fannie and Freddie into more rental housing. But at any rate, the Republicans blocked that. She said, could I have done more? No.
Joining me now from Tallahassee to react is Peter Schweitzer, the author of Throw Them All Out. Good morning to you, Peter.
Hey, good morning, Gretchen. Good to see you.
Good to see you as well. When you hear Barney Frank take absolutely no blame at all for the financial crisis and Fannie and Freddie, what's your reaction?
Well, you know, denial seems to be a common affliction in Washington, D.C. I don't know if it's in the drinking water or if it's something blowing off the Potomac, but he is in complete denial on this. He was at the epicenter of power in the financial services oversight area, and Fannie and Freddie Mac not only were pushed and encouraged to go into making risky loans, but when there were efforts to reform it and to look into, let's say, irregular, in some cases, criminal accounting problems, Barney Frank resisted those efforts. So there's just simply no way that he could paint the picture that he tried to do things or he tried to change the system. The opposite really is true.
It's interesting because not only did he continue to deny it the few days ago when he announced he was resigning, he actually continued to blame George W. Bush. Where do you fall on that?
Well, you know, there's no question that there were both political parties were pushing this idea. Let's use Fannie and Freddie as a mechanism to encourage more home ownership, which is a laudable goal. The problem is that oftentimes, as these kind of social engineering schemes do, they have unintended consequences. And the unintended consequences were that banks were pushed and encouraged to make risky loans to people that had bad credit. So there were both political parties doing that. But the fact is that also in 2003, 2004, the Bush administration was pushing aggressively for more oversight, better accounting standards for both Fannie and Freddie, and congressional Democrats, including Barney Frank, resisted it. So we knew the books were cooked almost a decade ago, but Barney Frank and others resisted efforts to look into that and to effectively deal with it.
Well, one thing that many lawmakers are not resisting anymore is coming clean about some of the insider trading that they had the luxury of cashing in on, quite frankly, because of your book. You exposed this, saying that, look, they have this loophole, none of the rest of us do, it would be illegal, that they can cash in on knowing about these inside deals. Well, now Barney Frank has written a letter to Senator Baucus, kind of admitting it, saying it, I quote, did not pay sufficient attention to this when it was first discussed with me, in part because I did not see this as a problem that was of any great substance. But given the attention that we have seen on this matter now, I think that we should now take up this legislation and, after suitable study, enact some version of it. What's your reaction to that, Peter? Because how could they not know that this was going on?
Well, in Barney Frank's case, I can't speak directly to what he knew or didn't know. I will say that while I disagree with him on probably the vast majority of policy issues, he was not somebody who was an active stock trader. But there was this club mentality up in Washington, D.C., and they had to know that colleagues were trading, some of them very aggressively, and doing so based on their committee assignments. So I think, again, there's a little bit of potentially denial going on. But look, I'm encouraged by the fact that somebody like Barney Frank has had an about face on this issue. We went from having 6 co-sponsors to the Stock Act before my book came out to somewhere now over 60, and it's been introduced in the Senate for the first time. So that's very encouraging, and I'm glad that Barney Frank has changed his mind on it.
A book that's making a big difference. Peter Schweitzer, the book is Throw Them All Out. Good to see you. We'll talk to you again sometime soon.